Cross Culture, New Mexico. I'm your host, Mark Tross. Today we're going to be talking about Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, on the 15th day of the 7th month, the Lord's Feast of Tabernacles begins, and it lasts for 7 days. The first day is a sacred assembly. Do no regular work. For 7 days present offerings made to the Lord by fire. And on the 8th day hold a sacred assembly and present an offering made to the Lord by fire. It is the closing assembly. Do no regular work. These are the Lord's appointed feasts, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies, for bringing offerings made to the Lord by fire: the burnt offerings and grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings, required for each day. These offerings are in addition to those for the Lord's Sabbaths, and in addition to your gifts and whatever you have vowed, and all the freewill offerings you give to the Lord. So beginning with the 15th day of the 7th month, after you have gathered the crops of the land, celebrate the festival to the Lord for 7 days. The first day is a day of rest, and the 8th day also is a day of rest. On the first day you are to take choice fruit from the trees, the palm fronds, leafy branches, and poplars, and rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. Celebrate this as a festival to the Lord for 7 days each year. This is to be a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. Celebrate it in the 7th month. Live in booths for 7 days. All native-born Israelites are to live in booths, so your descendants will know that I had the Israelites live in booths when I brought them out of Egypt. I am the Lord your God." So Moses announced to the Israelites the appointed feasts of the Lord. That's out of Leviticus 23, verses 33 to 44. Now, obviously, God had intended the nation of Israel to not only be hearers of the word, but doers of the word, and by faith, because without faith it is impossible to please God. James chapter 2 verse 17 says, "Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone." Now, what does Sukkot mean for us in the New Testament? John chapter 1 verse 1 says this: "In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God." John 1:14 says, "The Word became a human being and lived with us, and we saw his Shekinah, the Shekinah of the Father's only Son, full of grace and truth." Now, the Shekinah is the glory or the manifestation of God to man. Isaiah chapter 12 verse 3 says this: "With joy you will draw water from the wells of salvation." Now, salvation in Hebrew is Yeshua, the name of the Messiah, Jesus. It means salvation. This is important that we understand who God is talking about from the beginning through to the revelation of Jesus Christ himself. And John 7 verses 37 to 39 says this: "Now on the last day of the festival, Hoshana Rabbah, Yeshua stood and cried out, 'If anyone is thirsty, let him keep coming to me and drinking. Whoever puts his trust in me, as the scripture says, rivers of living water will flow from his inmost being.' Now he said this about the Spirit, whom those who trusted in him were to receive later. The Spirit had not yet been given, because Yeshua, Jesus, had not yet been glorified." And then in John chapter 7 verses 40 to 41, we read, "On hearing his words, some people in the crowd said, 'Surely this man is the prophet.' Others said, 'This is the Messiah,' or the Christ. But others said, 'How can the Messiah come from Galilee?' What is the prophetic fulfillment of Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles? Revelation 21, 1 through 3 says this: Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the old heaven and the old earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. Also I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared like a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. I heard a loud voice from the throne say, See, God's Shekinah, or God's glory, is with mankind, and he will live with them. They will be his people, and he himself, God with them, which is Emmanuel, with man is God, will be their God. Revelation 21, 1 through 3. Zechariah 14, 16 through 17 says this: Then the survivors from all the nations that have attacked Jerusalem will go up year after year to worship the King, the Lord Almighty, and to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles. If any of the peoples of the earth do not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord Almighty, they will have no rain. Next time we'll cover a practical guide for believers in Messiah in regards to Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacles. Be sure to join us at crossculturenm.weebly.com. Email us at crossculturenm@gmail.com. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page, Cross Culture NM. Like and share our Facebook page, Cross Culture NM. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time.